Hello, hello. Here is another interview with Mary. We already did one. We're going to do the second one now. And this is about divine guidance and how much fun we have with divine guidance science. So let's talk about Mary's experience about an interesting story, right? So we'll go, and this not only is Mary's experience, but actually her son, who is 19 years old, he was actually awakened. We think he was spiritually awakened because of what was unfolding right in front of his eyes. So Mary didn't need to persuade him. Mary didn't need to push anything at him, right? She just showed with her personal example, and he saw it. And now he is in a different space in life, right? And will continue. So let's hear that story. Hi, Mary, again.
Hi. Hello, Irina.
So let's talk about the first how, and I did love your approach. You actually taught me something. So we'll go to that if you remember this.
Yes.
So let's talk about Dominic.
Okay, so
How we started.
Dominic and I were on the phone. He wanted me to talk to the academy, the Spaceball Academy he wanted to attend. And so we finally were all three on the phone and then getting off the phone. And the first thing that was coming for me was like, is he going to be okay? Can we afford this? How is he going to eat? And I was like, wait a minute.
And we need to specify. So it was a 1 year, or it is a 1 year program, and he has to be away. And you've been taking care of him basically a lot. So suddenly your son is going away and all of these concerns are coming up. So I want to underline that that was a major decision that you had to make. And of course, there is concern as a mother, there is concern as financial concern, there is concern of everything else, how he will be there for the son. So all of it, it's a major life decision.
It was so major. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm in these divine guidance classes. I've learned this. Let me back up. I'm going to take mom out of the picture.
So sorry for interrupting, because I want to specify every detail. So you did not feel good about it at the beginning, right? Not that you didn't feel good, but you felt all this concern. So they came up. So you had objections to everything, right?
And even like, is he going to be okay? You know, is he going to find friends? All of it. And I was like, wait a minute. I said, Dominic, I'm not going to say anything. What we're going to do is we're going to take a drive. We're going to go down the road and we're going to see what happens.
This is an amazing point that I've learned from you. I would never say that before. And I've been in the divine guidance science activities for 27 years, literally. So what Mary did was innovative, and that's how we learn from each other. Usually I ask for a sign and then I go around my life. I do not, or about my day, I do not specifically go somewhere to look for a sign. I just wait for the sign to come to me. That's how I got used to, that's how I operate. So Mary decided to take destiny in her own hands and be in control. And she said, the magic phrase, let's go for a drive.
Yep.
And that's how it all started.
And I told him, you better get your journal out and get a pen. Get ready to start writing.
How was his reaction first?
Well, I mean, he was like, okay. So he was game for it because the end result, he felt, was he was going to get to go.
Yeah, he had an incentive, right? But even though he had an incentive, so he was fine. But if he didn't have an incentive, would he be interested even?
Probably not the same.
Probably not.
He'd be like, my mom's wacky.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. So now welcome to the club, Dominic.
Right. Welcome to the club.
We just had to prove it to him first. That wacky is good.
Yep. So he got it out and he was like, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it, whatever my mom says. And so we get onto the highway, and the very first car we pull in behind, and, you know, the highway car comes and it said baseball mom, huge sticker on the back windshield. I was like, oh my God. Like, so it was just as much for me, like for him. There's no confusing. They were asking about going to a baseball academy. And the very first thing we see is a baseball sticker and it says baseball mom.
Right. And also, if they were your motherly concerns,
Yeah.
and here you go, baseball mom.
I was like, here we go. That means I'm here to support you. Like, you know.
And not just one side.
Yep.
It could be enough, right? If you, it could be enough, but I personally say, no, I need more because I want confirmation. So I need more. Let's see how many more Meri got. And I have a client actually who always looks for signs. Of course, we've been in it for a long time. And she says, how come you always get 3 and I always get 2? So she gets 2 signs to confirm her and I get 3. And I said, I never even think about 3. It just happens, right? And for her, 2 happens. So we laugh about it because it's cute. It's 2 and I get 3. So what does it mean? Everybody has their own, and she's fine with 2 because maybe she's much smarter than I am, and 2 is enough. I'm too stubborn to. I need 3. Who knows?
Well, I just understood, like, just as a conversation, we're on the road and we're going to be on the road for a while. So we're not going to stop at 1. We're going to keep going until the whole answer shows up, no matter what it is.
You were determined. I didn't know that part. You were determined.
It was going to happen no matter what. So the next thing that we saw was a trailer on the side of the road and it had legacy on it. And so Dominic, his great-grandfather played baseball with Ted Williams on the farm team before he was picked up by the Boston Red Sox. Like, that in and of itself is a legacy. Ted Williams is a legacy in baseball. And then my dad, Dominic's grandpa, also played baseball. He also pitched a no-hitter. Like, it would be a legacy for him to play. So that was really cool to just see that on the side of the road. It's like, Dominic, it's a legacy. You're part of a legacy. You know,
and again, this is so relates to you because if I don't have any history of that, I wouldn't even know. A legacy would mean something else for me, but it would be entirely different from what you had. So it was right on target at the right moment to show you the answer.
Yep. And then we continue driving and the traffic's, you know, picking up and stuff. And then the song comes on the radio, Doobie Brothers, Listen to the Music. And I tell him, listen to the music. He's like, what? And I said, no, write it down because they're telling you, listen to the music. They're going to keep talking to you. And he's like, okay. And then there was, you know, several different, all kinds of numbers, whether it was 777, 444, you know, 333. There was tons of numbers. And at one point we pulled off, you know, the road because there was construction and stuff and stopped and, you know, got a coffee. And then we came back onto the highway. And as soon as we came on, there were 3 cars in a row. The one on the left was 777. The one right in front of us was 1111. And the one to the right had Florida tags. And I just took a picture because you can't make that up.
That's right. That's right.
And I sent that picture to Irina and all of us in the little club and just said, hey, Dominic's thinking about going to play baseball in Florida. What do you think from this picture?
So imagine 3 cars at the same time to make sure that you get it, getting your attention. On one side, 777. We know 777, everybody knows, hit the jackpot, right? It's a blessing number, good number. 1111, it's the spirit approves you, spirit hugs you. It's when you do something and you see 1111, it's the approval. It's a very good, positive spiritual side approves you. So perfect, right? And Florida. Out of all states, you needed to
Right.
choose Florida, and you live in Colorado. You're
Yep.
not even close to Florida
Nope.
in any shape or form. So suddenly you're seeing Florida state license plate right next to you at that particular moment. You can make this stuff up.
Nope. You
That's another thing. We use this
Mhm.
mantra a lot.
So I did say to Dominic, because I did take that picture and send it to you, and you responded like immediately, like, oh my gosh, this is what is saying to Dominic, like, yes, you have all the blessings in full support. And I showed it to him. And I said, see, Dominic, just so you know, he could see, like, oh, this is other people see exactly what my mom's seen, like right here. This is what is appearing, and it's not just my mom saying that, and he was like, oh wow. And so then we're getting down closer to where we're going to be stopping. I only had the address, I didn't know what the building was called, but we were coming down the exit, and there's a big huge billboard, and it said, through Egypt come the gods and the kings. And I was like, oh. And Irina had been mentioning that very many times in the class, and Dominic did not know that. But Dominic was looking at it, and I could see it in him, like something was moving. And he was like, oh, and it resonated with him. And so then we turned off and going down the road, and
Would
there's
you see, how would you interpret it? I know we're going into depth. This is a
Mhm.
little bit more high level
Yeah.
understanding. Would he say that for Dominic, could it be that if he goes through the camp experiences, he will be on a much higher level? Because through Egypt come the kings, meaning, and gods, meaning you went through this experience and you came out on a good level, on a different level. Is that how you interpreted it, or
Well,
different?
that's possible, but what I thought from it was because of COVID, he wasn't able to play.
Mhm.
And so he had to complete all of his studies and be held from it. Like he was not allowed to play because he was 19 in high school and you can't play. And so he continued with it, but it didn't fall from him. Like he still pursued it. And so that was just my interpretation, is he's done the work. And so his reward was this academy. Like now you did all your studies, now you can just play and
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. That was actually better explanation, because it wasn't in the future, but it's actually I've done it, and that's how it was for me. So you see, we don't just look at the sign, we also
Mhm,
interpret the sign, and we
mhm.
see how it relates to our current life at this particular situation, and it actually very much
Very
was
much,
there.
because it was not easy for him to do at all.
Mhm.
So it was really like, wow, it was almost like, God just saying, we see what you did. And
Mhm.
really, and I think that that's how it touched him, because he just stared at the billboard and he couldn't just take his eyes off of it. It meant something to him, very much. So
So
that was
he
really
got a
cool.
response to the sign.
Yeah. And
That's
that was,
amazing.
yes, makes me giddy, but that's because I'm his mom too.
Exactly. Oh, exactly. As a mom, I know how it feels.
Right?
Yes.
So then we were turning and going to the building, and there's a neon green car right in front of it. And that's my personal thing. Like, let me know there's magic. Put it neon green in front of me so I don't miss it. Right?
Because of Mary, we all see now neon green
Yes.
color cars everywhere.
So the neon green car was there, and we're pulling into the parking lot, and there's a huge sign. The place is called the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center. What? And then what did they teach? Course of Miracles. And so I'd take a picture of the whole sign, because you can't make this stuff up, right?
Right.
And we park, and it's 555 right in front of us on the license plate, which means life change,
Yep.
right?
Change. Yep.
What? And Dominic's just like, I think something weird's happening, but I don't know if I want to say it.
So he got it too.
Uh-huh.
Got
Because
it
he was
too.
like, what? And I think his willingness, really, like, I'm going to come out here and play with my mom, but he really was being willing. And it started to
Right.
shape him.
Exactly. If you
Yeah.
close up, then you
Yeah.
won't see it.
Right.
But because he was willing. And yes,
Mhm.
the incentive helped, but you
Yeah.
still need to be ready to wake up.
Yep.
Mhm.
And so he goes in, it's so cute. And he had like an aura picture taken, you know, and then he's sitting with this lady, and she was all dressed in scarlet colors. And she did a luminography on him, and he had to, you know, pull some cards. There's a little metaphysical fairy, you know. And so he's just pulling the cards, and she's like, oh, you need to go and do your dream. You have a childhood dream that you want to do. And I'm just like, you can't make this up.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know about that.
She's telling him, it's your time now. Like, this is your time, right? And she's like, and this is comes from your soul, because the sacral chakra card, you know, came up and everything. And then she's like, you know what, you know, at the end, why don't, here, go pull a card. This is, you know, your spirit animal. And they were all face down, right? So Dominic pulls the card, and what is it? The alligator. Not anything else. It's the alligator, the Florida Gators. And
Right.
I just start laughing.
And I would say alligator, if you would look at alligator at some other point, I usually look at an alligator as the issue, old, ancient, blah, blah, blah. But because it was so much in the flow, it was exactly at this particular moment, and it was exactly in the context of him going there, or being decided. His life, basically his life was being decided at that moment.
Yeah.
How to proceed. So definitely an alligator was the Florida sign.
Well, and they also had the Florida Gators on the Academy's website. Like, yeah. So I mean, it was like you couldn't make that any better, right?
Oh my goodness, yes.
And so really it was like, okay, Dominic, what do you think? Like, oh my gosh. He's like, looks like I'm going to Florida. Like, he compiled all the signs.
Meri, it's interesting that when you see that you are confirmed or you are supported by the divine, would you say that all the worries and concerns and fears immediately go away?
Yep.
Because when you see that you're not the only one in this decision, it's not your human decision, it's actually divinely sanctioned, then you know divine will provide for you.
Yes.
And divine will make sure that he's having the best experience.
Yep.
I have story after story after story about that, which I'm not sharing here, but stories are abound, because when we got this, we can relax and we can really follow the divine. Sometimes the divine decisions are very crazy. Sometimes divine will tell you to do something, and everybody else around you will say, you are nuts.
Yep.
But then you get that strength and faith to go through, because maybe you're nuts, but you got it from the divine. So you're following the divine. And guess what? When divine guides you, everything will be provided. The green light will be provided.
Always.
Everything will be provided. So who is the nut? Who is nuts at the end? And we say, well, that would be enough of you, right? Of you, the signs for you. But no, Meri, gosh, 3 signs are not enough, and 2 is not at all. We need a million of them.
We need like 80,000.
Right, exactly. So let's go to the next one.
Okay, so Dominic decided that we should celebrate. So thoughtful of him. He wanted to go to Dave and Buster's to celebrate now that he gets to go to Florida. And God said, so I have to listen. You know, there's not many people that would be above his mom.
Right. You know? We got overridden. She got overridden.
And so we go to Dave and Buster's and we walk in, and it's middle of the afternoon, so we wait for the hostess and ask her. She said, oh no, you can just seat yourself. And I said, well, Dominic, since this is your celebration here, what would you like? And he said, well, the table that's lit. And there is a table for two with one beaming light.
Did he even know what he had just said, or it was sort of?
I think it was clicking in. Yeah. He was like, well, the one that's lit, obviously.
We have witnessed the miracle. The soul woke up. I have just,
I mean, we were in the miracle center and watching it go, right?
Right.
So when we sit down, Dominic is on the side. So when the waiter appears and he looks up to him this way, the name tag's on his left. And I don't think Dominic actually heard him talk, which Dominic's a huge fan of going out to eat, food, soda. So for him to just glaze over at a waiter is not heard of.
Right. Why would the child look at all of this? It's just, it's normal experience for them.
Right.
Yeah.
So the waiter appears and he has long wavy hair. And Dominic looks up and all he sees on the name tag is Jesus. And he said, my name is Jesus. What can I get for you? May I take your order? Yep.
The table is in the light, the most lit table with the food server who is Jesus.
And Dominic's face was just Jesus is gonna take my soda order.
I better shape up and drink water, not soda.
He's like, Jesus is my waiter. Yep. And you just watched it go right through him. And his face just changed and he was there. He was very present in the moment. Just awakening.
Wow.
Everything else was extra. The kids that ran by in baseball uniforms. Yep, of course.
Wow.
Like it was just amazing. If you ever wanted to know and feel that you're supported, and I think that summed it pretty good.
That it did. So it's a double miracle. One is that the child woke up. Well, he's an adult, but still he's his son. So he woke up and you witnessed that transformation right in front of you. So you will remember. A lot of times I ask people, do you remember when you woke up? People don't, because it was gradual for them.
Yeah.
This case, that's actually not so much gradual. It's It's very visible, very, very acute one. And the second, you've made that major life decision that will affect his life positively. We know why positively, because we know we got confirmation. And also you confirmed and you practiced the homework, right? Get it done and get the signs, a lot of signs. And it was a flood of signs. So that's another thing I always teach. Sometimes it could be just one sign, but a lot of times, usually it's a flood of signs and you just make a picture out of it. So how cool is that? So I could not to ask Meri to do this interview because the world has to hear it.
They have to be on board. And if Dominic wasn't willing, I don't know what would have come through or if he would have heard, but he had incentive. And because of the incentive, he was like, yeah, sure, I'll do whatever it is.
Yeah.
He just opened himself up for more glory than he expected.
Exactly. That was a glorious day.
Yeah.
And if you would like a glorious day for you too, I will encourage you to join us for our next Divine Guidance Challenge class. It will be, you need to find the information on giftfromIrina.com/challenge. giftfromIrina.com/challenge. And Irina is spelled IRINA because everybody misspells it. So we need to make sure that you get to the challenge and we get to see you and we get to hear your amazing stories of transformation and science and major life decisions and all kinds of interesting things and good things that will come to you in your life because of the divine guidance science. And until we meet again, goodbye. Thank you, Meri. Bye, Meri.
Bye.